Welcome to Watch Mojo, motherfucker. There are many ways to rank Vaporwave artists. Do you go by highest rated album? The ones who came first? Most popular? In my ranking, I've tried to put together all of these qualities in order to make the perfect list, while also being highly personal and biased. There's probably gonna come some criticism at me for, including a lot of old artists that doesn't necessarily make that much Vaporwave anymore, and yeah, who cares? I've tried to make this list as objective as possible, but I realized halfway that was, kind of impossible. So this is my my highly personal but also objective, subjective list. Is this a good list? Is it just clickbait? We'll see. Number 15, Burger King Fruit Lilies. Spot number 10, catsystemcorp. A legend within the mallsoft and late night lo-fi subgenres. catsystemcorp, or Yunt. Yunt? Elsinga first discovered Vaporwave when it Google searched for advice on how to release music on floppy disks. There he found Culture Island by Miami Vice and discovered a new and wonderful world.
Corp burst into the scene in 2013, releasing 4 short albums before the end of the year. The following year, he would up his production to 7 in 1 year, some of them being his most critically acclaimed work, Hirath and Pall Mall. Hirath also being the album he's the most proud of, as stated in this interview.
Are you most proud of?
I'd say Hirath, the first one. It's like an introduction to the genre, to the music. And it has different kind of styles. It has a bit of mallsoft, some ambient, some vapor funk.
An interesting release of his is the Live in Los Angeles 2019 album, which was made when he played the show during 100% Electronicon 2. The album is recorded live during the performance, so the quality is, what you would expect a YouTube video to be like. But since we're talking Vaporwave, it's very fitting, creating an extra layer of distortion and acoustic on the fine sound. Mallsoft wouldn't be the same without him, and that is why he's number 10 on my list.
Number 9, Young Bae. I would definitely put Young Bae on the list for one of the most disliked Vaporwave artists as well. He's considered by many as kind of like an entry point to the genre and to future funk, especially for people that have barely scratched the surface. In my opinion, this is a bit of an elitist statement, but that was me like 1 year ago, 2 years ago. Yet he still stands strong as one of the most popular and well-known artists in the Vaporwave scene. Undoubtedly, an artist that has had some controversies in the past. We are not gonna dig into that today because I really don't know anything about it, except like there's some controversies. I don't want to get into it, okay? I don't want to do it. Some other guy can make that video. I'm not gonna make that. I'm just saying. Still, remains a very talented producer and artist. The banger of a song, Ain't Nobody Like You. Special place in my heart, was one of the first songs that got me into Vaporwave as a whole back in early 2016. Young Bae, or Dallas Cotton, came into the Vaporwave scene around 2014 when he dropped his EP Hentai Visions. He also came out later that same year with Bae, the first one. After that, we've seen an additional 4 Bae albums, as well as the Japanese mix disco edits, which I think they're called. They're a personal favorite of mine. If you've seen my channel before and probably saw the intro on this, I'm using some music from one of those. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And while being one of the more popular artists in the Vaporwave scene, he still collaborates with some of, the old boys, like Flamingos, Macross, and Desired. While also, being over in the mainstream and doing Bad Boy with Baby No Money. He's also born in the same year as me, which is kind of cool, He's a big star, touring the world, and I'm sitting here. Number 8. ESPRIT, aka George Clanton. Nope. Nope. George Clanton, the man, the myth, the legend, has almost become kind of like a outward-facing face for the whole Vaporwave community. While other artists kind of keep to themselves, you know, in their anonymity and, you know, their persona online, he has appeared in multiple interviews and done shows to promote Vaporwave as a legitimate genre of music. You know, we can also add to the fact that, you know, this man is highly well-spoken and charismatic compared to the rest of the Vaporwave community. Clanton started out back in 2012 by making funny synth-pop joke parody songs to his friends under the moniker Mirror Kisses. However, when he heard Floral Shop by Macintosh Plus, aka Vektroid, he saw the light. This newfound inspiration turned into the moniker ESPRIT Fantasy. With it, he released the EPs Girls Only and the legendary Summer Night, as well as the full albums Relax in 2013 and Virtuosit the following year. Virtuosit being referred to today as a Vaporwave classic. While Clanton would eventually kind of abandon the ESPRIT Fantasy moniker, he started making music under his own name, George Clanton, and distancing himself from the heavy sample use of Vaporwave. While different, it's still similar to Vaporwave, just with vocals on top. He has also created the label 100% Electronica back in 2015, which has had some amazing records on it. He also used that brand name to create Electronicon, which is kind of like a festival for Vaporwave fans and you know, artists. Really want to be there, but you know, live in Norway, so I'll just... Number 7. That's Dynamic Shroud. Probably the artist on this list which I have the least personal connection with, but you know, it's also kind of unfair, I guess, to include them because they are 3 people disguised as one artist, while most other artists on this list, I think, are one person. But you know, it's my list, so DDS consists of Keith Ranking, Tech Honors, and James Webster. James Webster and Tech Honors started playing together in high school, you know, in a band, playing rock music. In this band they called The Sailing, you know, which I believe is this one, because they're signed to the same label as DDS. Where's my Pulitzer Prize? They would eventually bond over the game Shenmue, which James made an album about called Shenmue Online, being officially the first DDS release. From there they started making music for fun, and you know, their entrance into Vaporwave was basically releasing 10 albums in 2014 under the DDS.VMV name, which they both shared and released music upon. So their plan was basically make the albums individually and then release it on the same name. Musically, they focused on like distorting all video game soundtracks and also pop music like Katy Perry, and sometimes they would also mesh these two together to make some of the greatest songs in Vaporwave history. Keith Rankin came in later and, you know, collaborated with both of the guys and made some albums, and also Heavy Black Heart is the only album that every member has worked on. They make music that kind of belong in the noise echo jams genre, which is not my favorite, but you know, still I respect what's being done here. When it comes to their influences, Tech names New Dreams Limited by Vektroid, Vanishing Vision by Internet Club, and Now That's What I Call Music Volume 2 by Michael Jordan Lincoln. Number 6. Luxury Elite. The undoubtable go-to artist for the late-night lo-fi subgenre. Luxury Elite is an extremely productive artist that produced 18 albums during 6 years, between 2012 and 2018. Among the albums you have 1, 2, 3, Late Night Delight, TV Party, World Class, and With Love. Naming Midnight Television and 18 Karat Affair as her biggest inspirations, it's pretty apparent that she would end up making this kind of late night lo-fi aesthetic sound. She also founded the label Fortune 500, which housed some of the biggest and greatest Vaporwave artists of all time. We're talking heavyweights like Saint Pepsi, 18 Karat Affair, Macross, Auto, among many others. She has managed to stay pretty anonymous online. I mean, the only thing I can just find out about her is that Rachel Music lists her current place as Kentucky, United States, but I have been unable to confirm nor deny even that fact. While, you know, she's been away for 2 years from the whole scene and from the internet and everything, but recently she has reappeared on Twitter, teasing some cool new music and you know, other stuff. So maybe we'll see a new Luxury Elite album. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's a theory. It's a theory. It's a game theory. Number 5. Blank Banshee. There exist rumors that Blank Banshee and Echo Virtual are the same person. And if that were to be true, then, you know, Blank Banshee would rank higher in this list, at least top 3. But however, the court has been unable to confirm nor deny these allegations, so we will continue with our proceedings. Blank Banshee, the god of Vapor Trap. While technically not first in the genre, you know, I'm someone else, he has been able to perfect it to a certain quality that no one has been able to replicate since. Blank Banshee, real name Patrick Driscoll, aka one of the most attractive Vaporwave artists of all time, came out with the album Blank Banshee Zero in 2012, and that is still looked as one of the most legendary Vaporwave albums of all time. The album solidified the Vapor Trap subgenre and kind of brought a lot of attention and fans to Vaporwave as a whole. He also, of course, made a follow-up to that album. A year later, he made Blank Banshee 1, which some, you know, might argue is a better album. It's me. I'll make that argument. It's me. And he also did Mega a couple of years later. While he is perhaps the artist on this list with the smallest discography, the work he has put out has been genre-defining. And that is why he belongs at spot number 5. Number 4, James Ferraro. The undeniable king of Utopian Virtual, or, you know, SimCity music, as I called it in my Vaporwave subgenres video. James Ferraro was early on the scene with his release Farside Virtual back in 2011. Previously, he had experimented with noise music and hypnagogic pop, but after being influenced by music, cell phones, and American culture, he decided to make an album that he felt would belong on a cell phone. While diverging into different genres and styles after this, like hip-hop and R&B, he would later come back to the original aesthetic of his Farside Virtual album and make Human Story 3, which is another similar release. Number 3, Telepath. You're a pretty goddamn important artist when you pretty much create a subgenre out of thin air, as well as a big cult around you. Telepath is a relatively anonymous artist. There's some rumors that his real name is Luke Lorilla, but you know, I've been unable to confirm nor deny. He did play at both Electronicons, but he did it wearing this huge costume, so you know, that doesn't really help us in any way, shape or form. Wait a second. What is that? Freeze frame. Rotate 30 degrees on the horizontal. Reflect image. Enhance. Run denoiser sequence. My God. Oh. It can't be. It can't be. The subgenre I mentioned that Telepath created is slush wave. Around late 2014, Telepath started tagging his SoundCloud uploads with the hashtag. and from there a subgenre was born. Telepath sound consists of long, drawn-out ambient soundtracks that can last anywhere from like 5 minutes to an hour. He is perhaps most known for his album Birth of a New Day, which is made by 2814, a collaboration between him and Hong Kong Express. But yeah, when it comes to ambient vaporwave, there is really no one that comes close. Even I feel like ambient in general, this guy is still one of the greats. At number 3. Number 2, Saint Pepsi. Saint Pepsi, or Ryan DeRobertis, is one of the earliest artists in the future funk genre, and probably the most talented, in my opinion. Ryan started musical projects in school with, being in bands and testing out some outdated DAWs, but he finally saw the light once he saw Floral Shop by Vektroid. In 2012, when Ryan was 19, he made his first album called Laser Tag Zero. An album with one of the most horrendous album covers that I've ever seen, but it had some interesting sounds on it. A style that he would later define on the albums Winner Circle, World Tour, Late Night Delight, and of course, the greatest vaporwave album of all time, Hit Vibes. As he kept getting praise and attention, he would eventually sign to Corp Records, which is a legitimate music label, and he would eventually ditch the name Saint Pepsi and turn into Skylar Spence due to legal issues with the Pepsi brand. While releasing the album Prom King as this new moniker Skylar Spence, he would eventually actually come back to the name Saint Pepsi and release the album Mannequin Challenge in 2019. Saint Pepsi is one of the very few vaporwave artists that has managed to break into the mainstream while also maintaining the following and respect from the vaporwave scene. Number 1. Vektroid. She has probably inspired more than half the people on this list, so how can I not put Vektroid on top? An artist that has done an amazing, insane amount of stuff for the scene, and for those of us that don't really know Vektroid's range, aka me 3 years ago, let me introduce to you Distant, Laserdisc Vision, New Dreams Limited, Virtual Information Desk, Prism Corp, Virtual Enterprises, ESC, and FujiGrid TV, and that's not even all of them. Oh, did you think those were albums? Those are her monikers. She has produced close to 50 albums, if Wikipedia is correct, and I kind of think it is. Vektroid started messing around with music at age 12 with basically no music knowledge or education.
She messed around with sounds from different video games, being inspired by the games themselves and deep web conspiracy theory culture, like ARGs. She's quoted as saying, "My music is the result of everything I listen to the most. It is the diary I used to remember how I observed the world around me when I was just a child." So there are many references to popular video games, cyberpunk, and 90s commercials. If there is one project of hers you've probably heard, it's Macintosh Plus's Floral Shop. Perhaps the most important album in vaporwave history, as mentioned by a majority of the other artists on this list. Vaporwave might not even have existed without her, and that is why she's number 1 on my list. Alright, that's it guys, thank you for tuning in, you made it to the top of the list. This is my ghetto setup, which I've been using to record some of the parts of this video that I didn't record on the first time. And yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be also using this setup to stream a bit, so you can follow me on Twitch if you feel like seeing my face more than you do. It's been a while. I think it's 4 months since the last one, so I'm gonna try and be quicker with the next video. But yeah, other than that, just thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and leave a comment if you disagree, as most of you probably will. And yeah, check out merch, link in the description, and I'll see you later, gang.